Haridas is going to join us now, and if you have questions, I'd like to just read you something that Haridas wrote. Someone asked him, what is the quickest way to attain enlightenment? He said, in theory, the quickest way to attain enlightenment is supreme dispassion. In practice, it's like walking up Mount Everest backwards. One can gain dispassion by understanding the cycle of nature, which is birth, growth, decay, and death. If we understand that we are not immortal, then our attachments will reduce. We say it in words, but we never think of our own death. We have to observe death in everything, because everything which is in the world is going through birth, growth, decay, and death cycle. We all know that we will die, but we don't know, we all know that we will die, but we don't want to know it. We know it, but we don't want to know it. We are dwelling in ignorance, which is the idea, I am this mind-body complex. This ignorance, this mistaken identity, is removed when we become conscious that, quote, I am separate from this mind-body complex. I am a universal consciousness. Do you have any questions for Haridas? Haridas will write, and his interpreter will read you what he wrote. I'm not interpreter. Jackie?
The question was, what is the nature of true humility, and what is the way to achieve that if it is in fact desirable to achieve that? As long as we are defending our ego, we can't attain true humility. But on the other hand, if we don't defend our ego, then we can't adjust in the world. So what is the answer? If we learn to act, then we can adjust. You defend your ego, but you don't forget you are acting.
You know, I know a teacher who was asked that. And his answer was, humility was the absence of anyone to be proud. And someone corrected him and said, no, it's the absence of anyone to be humble.
There was one saint in Vrindavan named Ramdas Kataya Baba. He would feed poor people in the morning, touch their feet, and during the day he would chase schoolboys with a stick because they would steal his guavas from the school. Schoolboys would think, he is a very cruel man. But he would do it to give away the guavas. When ripe. He would do it to give away the guavas when they were ripe. So duty is important. For our duty, we defend the ego, but we don't forget our ego. Question is, what is forgiveness? When you don't keep the memory of anger created by you or by someone else. If the memory remains and you forgive only in language, then it is not real forgiveness. And many egos, and is there only one presence? I'll just say it the way it was asked. Is there only one presence in this room, but many separate egos? One presence means is there only one animating consciousness? One universal consciousness. Just like several balloons have the same air, From universal consciousness, we have individual consciousness, I am. From I am, there is a lower consciousness, I am this or that. So there are three levels. Causal, subtle, gross. Corresponding to the universal, I am this body, or I am this, or I am that. Hope. In the process of learning forgiveness, you feel conflict and non-forgiveness. What do you do in that moment? Are you saying you want to forgive and at the same time you want to punch the person? That's the essence of what the feeling is. Yeah. Those feelings arise. Because you have to defend your ego, so you use anger. That anger is expressed in many ways, even as forgiveness. I forgive you, fool. Don't come to me again. Yeah. Is it true that a realized being is always in a state of bliss? Realized being means one who is established in the self. The self has three qualities: existence, consciousness, bliss. The mind is still working. The realized being will not see a dog as a cow. So the mind will react in situations, but it will not disturb the peace. If society were evolved to the point where people generally took forgiveness seriously, how would justice be administered to people who had committed serious crimes? If society were evolved to the point where people took forgiveness seriously, wanted to be forgiving, how would they administer justice to people who commit serious crimes? How can you be forgiving and at the same time just to those who do bad things? If forgiving reached to that high a stage, how would they commit serious crimes? There'll always be somebody, right? Some outsider, Babaji says. We are all into forgiveness, right? Then forgive him. Yes. What is the significance of Babaji's wearing white and sitting on white? I can see the dirt easily. What do you think of the value of using positive affirmations in healing? It's important. It can change your thinking. If you pretend to be angry, you will start feeling angry. In the same way, positive affirmations will act positively within you. Everybody heard that? Good.
It helps him see the dirt.
Babaji's response is, I can't fight. Three reasons. 1, for silencing the mind. 2, for retaining pranic energy, vital life energy. 3, for not using unwanted language. With regard to positive affirmations, what about if somebody uses an affirmation for denial or repression of something they don't want to deal with? Any example? Or someone's angry and says they're not angry. Someone's sick and says they're not sick. They try to tell themselves they're not sick. Someone's dying, says, I'm not dying. Someone's angry, says, I'm not angry. It will strengthen the fear. The denial will strengthen the fear. Babaji's asked a comment on certain specific techniques given by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, said to be the jet plane path and to enable people to actually fly. Did you see any? Hopping. I can hop. With one leg. Oh, excuse me just for a minute. With regard to the practices that Maharishi is giving out, it's a method of yoga, but it is a very hard practice. As long as the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, are not controlled, one can't do it. Just saying a great deal, one has to attain a considerable level of purification before one can control the 5 elements. That's a lot. Let's see, Evelyn, and then you had one. Everyone hear that? No. Essentially, I think it focused on the difference between affirmation to achieve a certain desired end. For example, I want to get over a certain condition, versus acceptance of destiny, acceptance of what of thy will be done, whatever is. Babaji writes, positive attachments, negative attachments.